And we're about to start this meeting of the Sumner County Board of Education for August 16th, 2022. Before we start it, I'm going to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Anyone who would like to join me, please feel free to do so. Where are we? Who are we? What's my name? All right. First item on the agenda is roll call. Mr. Johnson, you have the roll. All right. Next item on the agenda is adoption of the regular agenda. Approval of the regular agenda is presented. Motion approved by Mr. Daniels, second by Mr. Wise. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. We have an agenda. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of the consent agenda. Is there a motion? Motion by Ms. Hayes.
Second.
Second by Mr. Duncan. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is consideration of the minutes, discussion, interaction regarding the minutes of the July 12th regular meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Mr. Gregory, second by Mr. Wilkerson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item, discussion interaction regarding the minutes of the July 28th special call meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion approved by Mr. Duncan,
Second.
second by Ms. Bachman. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is recognition of and hearing of delegations. And I think we're just going to turn it over to Mr. Wilkerson for right now. Mr. Wilkerson, come on down.
So I'm going to ask the basketball team to come on up. So we've been trying to do this since the end of March, but because of basketball camps and vacations and softball, we weren't able to get it done. But tonight we are going to recognize them. They went 29-4 last year. They were only, the four teams that beat them was Alcoa, Loretta, Clarksville Northwest, and Oakland. Two of those teams are 4A schools. Westmoreland's a 2A. They were ranked number 6 in the state and top 10 in the state in points allowed. Some of their accomplishments were Beach Invitational Christmas Tournament champs. They beat Summit, Beach, and Brentwood. They actually beat Beach twice. Just want to put that in there. They were 6A undefeated regular season champs, 6A tournament champs, beating Cannon County for that championship. Region 3A champs, beating York, who was a state runner-up. The sub-state champs, beating East Nashville, and lost to Alcoa in the state quarterfinals. I'm very proud of this team. They worked hard. They're coached by head coach Andrew Perry, EJ Perry, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring your brother into it. EJ and assistant coaches are Dustin McKinney and Logan Neal. That right? And the team consists of Callie Coates. She's not here, is she? Carly Powell, Mallory Cassidy. Have something for you. This is a coin. Peyton Crump. Amelia Richardson. Anna Creasy. Bailey Norman. Gracie Leith. Elizabeth Tuttle. Skylar McMillan. Aviana Vaselli. Did I mess it up too bad? Emma Wright. Emma's going to go on and play ball with Cumberland. Kayla Urell. Riley Crump. Elena Eckel. And Elena is going to play for Anderson. And Bay Dobbs. So I present to you the Westmoreland basketball girls.
Everybody smile. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before y'all get out of the room, I think some of the board members would like to say a few things to you. Ms. Brown?
No, I will honestly tell y'all, my voice is bad, but y'all are the best looking girls team we've had. Your hair, your shirts, everything. So, good luck. Y'all take care of the basketball.
Mr. Chairman's not paying attention, so I'm going to jump in there. I represent the beach cluster, so I'm very passionate about the beach cluster sports. So I'd like to congratulate you on beating a very tough team. I've been told here multiple times, twice. So congratulations. We look forward to what you do in the future. If you're a senior and you're moving on, best of luck. Thank you.
All right, did we get everybody? Oh, Mr. Wilkerson.
I failed to tell you that they also beat Gallatin and Hendersonville, and Station Camp has refused to play them the last 2 years.
Oh, my. Way to go, girls. Ms. Hawkins.
Okay, so representing the Gallatin and Station Camp clusters, congratulations. Take the lessons that you learn on the basketball court into life ahead, because you'll find that things will harken back to lessons you've learned in competition, sportsmanship, and perseverance. So, congratulations. This is a great achievement, and I'm so proud of you all.
Thank you, Ms. Hopkins. Anyone else? All right, I think we got them all. Thank you all very much. We appreciate you. You're welcome to stay if you'd like. I don't think so. Yeah, that's right. Give them just a second or two to. All right, next item on the agenda, Ms. Bachman, I think you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to present to you Dave Mooney. He is the Senior Vice Commander of our local VFW in Hendersonville, and also the District Commander for District 4, which covers all of Sumner County and some up in Macon. David's going to speak to you about our scholarship programs. I think some of you have heard him speak before. This is a very worthwhile program that we offer to our high school students. That can earn scholarship money, and I know parents always want to help with that. And so without further ado, I want to present Dave Mooney.
Thank you, Alice. Alice forgot to tell you that she's the Auxiliary District 4 Commander, so she and I hang out together. So. And she took the first paragraph of my speech. But anyway, I'm Dave Mooney from VFW Post 9851 in Hendersonville. And Dr. Brewer, Mr. Brewer, and school board members, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. As Alice mentioned, I'm also the commander of District 4, which covers 2 other additional posts that are in Sumner County and 3 other posts in Lebanon, Trousdale, and Macon County. Alice, thank you for arranging the opportunity tonight for me to speak. I'm here to tell you about the various community programs that the VFW and its auxiliary have for the students and teachers in the Sumner County school system. I gave each of you a packet on your desk, and it includes the more detailed information, including the entry forms for each of these contests, which are our Voice of Democracy, our Patriots Pen, our Teacher of the Year, which has a big long name, and then our Young Americans Patriotic Art Contest, which is conducted by our auxiliary. Also in your packet, best that I could figure out is the districts related to each of the other 2 posts here in Sumner County, so you know who in the VFW organization to contact if you need more information for the schools in the Portland, Westmoreland, White House area. The first one I want to talk about tonight is our Voice of Democracy. It's an essay contest for our high school students. They're asked to write and record a 3 to 5 minute essay on this year's theme, which is picked by the National VFW, Why is the Veteran Important? The students then submit their essay and their recording to their local VFW post. We grade all our entries. We pass them up to the district, and then we pass them up to the state, and the winners at the state level go on to the national level. If you win the National Voice of Democracy contest, you can get a $30,000 scholarship. And everybody that is a state winner goes home with at least $1,000, all the way up to another $25,000, depending on how high you finish in the contest. So there's a good opportunity to do that, and cash awards are generally given out at both the post, the district, and the state level for the winners as they go up. So there's additional funds available as they go along. Our second contest is the Patriots Pen Contest. This is an essay contest for our middle school students in grades 6 through 8. And they're being asked to write an essay on this year's theme, My Pledge to Our Veterans. Again, their entry is submitted to their local VFW post, goes up the line to the district, state, and national levels. And the top winner in the Patriots Pen Contest at the national level will win a $5,000 scholarship. So we'd like you to go out and encourage the teachers in your high school and middle schools that are in your areas of responsibility, and encourage them to have the students write and enter these contests. It's a good essay contest for maybe an English or a history type or social studies type course. They have to write something during the year anyway, so now why write this and have a chance to win a little bit of scholarship money along the way. We also have our patriotic art contest, which is done by our auxiliary, and this is for our high school students, and they're asked to submit an original artwork. And I know a couple of years ago, a local student won 5th place at the national level in the art contest. So we have some very talented artists and art teachers in our school system that work for this. And again, those go the same as the other ones, the post, district, the state, and the national level. And the winner in that contest will win a $15,000 scholarship information. So all of these entries, for your information, are due by Halloween, the 31st of October. And then from there, we'll judge them out. And at the state level, our awards are given in February. In January, most of the posts have an award banquet where they invite the winners of the contest from the various schools and the teachers and present our local awards at that. But we wouldn't have all these fabulous entries in our Voice of Democracy, Patriots Pen, and Art contests if we didn't have wonderful and dedicated teachers throughout our school system. So our last program is the Smart Maher VFW National Citizenship Education Teacher Award, which is why I call it Teacher of the Year, because that's way too long to talk about. And this is where we want to recognize the best educators at each level in our school system. There's a winner will be selected at our elementary level, our middle school level, and our high school level. And again, these will be passed up the line and be cash awards. And I think the teachers get to go to the National BFW Convention each year and discuss what they do in their classroom, and their awards for both the classroom, I believe, and the school at that point. So I think that about ends it up for tonight. I want to thank you for your past support. All the posts in Sumner County became all-state and all-American posts last year, and part of it was because of the cooperation we got from the schools to get our entries for our Patriots Pen, Voice of Democracy, and Teacher of the Year, which are required steps for each of the posts to achieve in order to achieve a higher recognition. So please talk to your principals as you go out in your schools to ask them to nominate teachers. Talk to your guidance counselors to tell them about the scholarship money opportunities available in the Voice Democracy, Patriots Pen, and Patriotic Art Contest. And hopefully we can get some state and maybe a national winner out of all of those from here. I know 2 years ago we had a national teacher winner out of Manchester. So Tennessee has some good teachers, and I'd like to see Sumner County compete and win at that level. So again, thank you for allowing me to present tonight to you and show you how the VFW and our auxiliary work together with the school districts to recognize our outstanding students and teachers. I'd be pleased to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Boomy. Any questions from the board members? Ms. Hawkins?
I want to thank you for continuing to serve our country in this way. May I ask you where you served?
I served in Vietnam.
Okay.
I'm a Navy veteran. I did 4 individual deployments to Vietnam starting in 1968 and ending in 1975.
Oh my goodness.
And I was actually there, deployed off the coast of Vietnam in I guess it's April of '75 when it all ended. And so I was there almost at the beginning, not quite, and I was there at the end also.
Thank you. As the daughter of a World War II veteran who's still living.
Oh, awesome.
I have heard many stories, and I continue to just be so thankful for your stepping forward and all those who do that to protect us and in this way to continue to serve. And thank you very much.
These programs are, I think, were started, the Voice of Democracy anyway, in 1947. So they've been running almost 75 years, I think, at this point. So it's a long-lasting and well-supported program by our communities throughout the nation. Thank you.
Ms. Hawkins. Mr. Gregory?
One question, please. Will this package be delivered to all the schools in some regard?
In the process, I will mail a letter to the principal with, of the high schools, you'll get a letter with the 3 of the 4 things in here, the Teacher of the Year, the Voice Democracy, and the Art Contest. Middle schools will get the Teacher and the Patriots Pen, and the elementary schools will get the Teacher of the Year application. I also sent it to the guidance counselors, at least one of the guidance counselors at the school, so they can put it in their guidance system to be sure that they have something that the students can reference to.
So if we take this to the high school, which they'll have 2 copies probably.
What's that? I'm sorry.
If we take it, or do you want us to keep this?
You're welcome to keep it and keep it as reference as you go to the high schools and see if they know where it is when you visit. And if not, you can give them a new copy. Okay, so.
Okay.
But I'm in the process of getting together. I bought the envelopes and yesterday, and I've been putting together these packets. So now I'll start the letters to go out to each of the schools. I only do them for the schools in sort of the Hendersonville area.
Right.
So when I say that's what I'm doing for the Hendersonville schools. The Westmoreland Post works on Gallatin, Westmoreland, and Portland, and the White House Post works out in White House, Cross Plains area.
And we all appreciate what you have done and what you are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory. Anybody else? All right, seeing none. Thank you, Mr. Mooney. We for sure appreciate what you do and what you continue to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brewer. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you, Dave. This will be my last opportunity to introduce him from this side of the barn, but I may be in the audience next time addressing you on another scholarship program for the auxiliary for some new art contests for our youngsters. So we are continuing to drive on, so appreciate all your support. And if any of you have any questions or whatever, you can contact me. If you can't get a hold of Dave, I can get all this information for you as well. And my husband was a 2-time Vietnam guy. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bachman. Next on the agenda is Miss Joanna Daniels. Miss Daniels, come on down. You know the drill, so state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes.
Good evening, it's Joanna Daniels and 152 North Shadow Haven Way, Hendersonville. And just wanted to say thank you so much. And a few things here tonight that I was looking over the agenda, and I know that you guys are talking about the budget. There's a bunch of budget amendments, and I've been looking through the budget this year, and I have to say, you know, at one point in time, I was told by someone on the board that the school is ran as a business and that I need to treat it like a business. And so in looking at the budgets, I see that there's a lot of others, like other salaries and wages. Let's see, and that one was $370,000. There is other salaries for $89,000. There is other supplies and materials, $4,000. So I just see, if you look through your budget and the things that are getting amended tonight, there's a whole lot of others. And I was just, and they're really big numbers too. You know, I just told you on like $307,000. There's a lot of others through here that I don't know. I mean, with this new 87,000 IRS agents, I think a lot of others might be looked bad upon. And as far as it being, you guys being a public school and our monies, really being, used by you guys, I would think that there would be less others and more itemized things. And so, I'm going to make this definitely a priority to look through here and start looking at some of these. And I'm hoping, because you guys are supposed to approve this tonight, I'm hoping that you guys looked at them and you guys have already asked those questions, because there's probably, if I would have printed them out, probably about over 100 pages. And I would say about 50% of it said other. So that's a lot of others. So I hope that you did print it out. And I know, because one of them had ESSER, was addressing ESSER, and you guys got $49 million in ESSER grants here, and that's a lot of money, and that we got here in Sumner County, and so for it to say other is I don't know, for me as a public person, as me, a resident, going, wow, that's not a lot of details. And then also, when you guys were discussing the credit recovery, 770 people that received credit recovery. Growing up, I remember there was hardly anybody in summer school, and so 770 people in credit recovery, to me, that's a whole lot of kids going for credit recovery during the summer school. And I actually spoke with a few students, and they said, yeah, a lot of kids, they just kind of, mess around in school and just go to summer school. So I'm like, oh, wow. So I saw that you guys are doing a new policy for credit recovery, but I was a little confused as to why we were so proud that we had 770 people go through summer school. That's a lot. And then also with the, you're talking in the study session about the AP classes. I have to say that I think it was 1,400 people applied and over 1,000 people got in. And I did AP classes. They were hard, okay? And a lot of people didn't get in. So I thought it was a really large percentage of people that actually passed the AP classes to get into AP. Because when I did it, like hardly anybody got in. So I'm like, did they lower the standards? Because like, wow, that was a lot of people that got in. And then last.
Smart kids. I can't take this. We've got smart kids. That's the one that has an AP.
Okay. So anyway, this is not anything against kids or anything like that. It has to do with the fact that things have changed, and 770 credit recovery is a lot. And I talk with kids, so and they tell me that they go to summer school just for the heck.
Miss Daniels, your 5 minutes is up.
He did take some time.
I added that in.
Anyways, thank you so much.
I hope you stay for the whole meeting like you've never done since you've come to hear my comments again. Thank you.
I've stayed numerous times. Just because I stay doesn't mean that I have to stay, because I can't reply to your comments. But you seem to be thinking that you can actually talk to me right now.
Thank you, Miss Daniels. Next item on the agenda is new business discussion and interaction regarding revision to policy 4.210, credit recovery upon first reading. Motion approved by Mr. Wise. Second by Ms. Brown. Any discussion? Did you push your button? Mr. Daniels.
Yeah, Mr. Langford, I know we just had some comments about credit recovery. I'm just wondering if you can kind of comment on the purpose for credit recovery, the reason the numbers are what they are, and to help explain why, there may be 770 students, but it's 770 opportunities possibly for a student to graduate.
We have about 10,000 high school students, so 770 is less than 1%, which is, I wish it were zero. I mean, that's our goal ultimately, but you know, as we've mentioned before, we've got kids moving in from other states and other places, other districts that weren't in school due to COVID while we were in school. So kids, you know, sometimes it's, we had kids that moved in with almost 0 credits over the previous 18 months while they were on COVID lockdown. So there were credits to make up. We have some kids here that do fall behind, and so we try to come up with a multitude ways of helping them, whether that's through credit recovery in their school. Like for instance, Gallatin High School does unit recovery, so if a kid falls behind, you don't have to wait until you fail. They can go ahead and jump in and go ahead and work on catching up during that semester. That's more of what we're working towards. Gallatin has done a great job with that. We have the credit recovery. We also wanted, with the lack of face-to-face instruction that kids moving in from other places had, we had credit recovery through Edgenuity, but we also had in-person credit recovery classes to give kids an opportunity. So regardless of what they faced, whether it was lost learning due to COVID, whether it was a move, whether it was a whole bunch of different family situations or different things like that, we wanted to provide a multitude of opportunities for kids to be able to learn, to catch up, and to graduate. Because at the end of the day, you know, we have different goals for all kids based on where they are and what they're achieving. And, you know, one being, the baseline being, we want all kids to graduate, and we want to provide as many opportunities as possible. We ultimately even have E.B. Wilson, which has become a place for students to catch up, but also for kids to find just an alternative path. So we want to provide all those different opportunities for our kids. But yeah, I don't know that 770, I mean, I wish it were 0, but when you look at, we've got over, you know, close to 10,000 high school students. So that, to give you a perspective on the percentage.
What's our graduation rate?
It's right at, it's a little, this year it's a little bit below 95%. It usually is around, you know, 94.9 to 95.5. We usually fluctuate right in there.
So it's continued to go up over the past couple of years.
That's right.
And one question about AP classes. I know we had a whole conversation about AP class at our last meeting. You know, one of the comments that I made, and I do somewhat agree with what Ms. Daniels said about the ability to get into the AP classes. I remember when I graduated from middle school, we took a test. And depending on what grade you got on that test, that determined whether you were AP or whether you were an honor student. And so you were limited in the opportunities to be able to even take an AP class. So as a high school student, I had the opportunity to take one AP class. And I took European history my senior year because I was allowed to take that class. And I ended up getting 4 on the AP exam, which helped with some college credit. How many AP courses do we offer across our county right now?
It fluctuates by school. I don't know the specifics right now. We have upwards of 22 or 23 in Hendersonville High School, maybe 26 in Hendersonville High School. We're working through virtual delivery opportunities and others to try to get a baseline of courses at every school. So, you know, as we mentioned last time, you know, schools, like you saw the number of AP scholars increasing. That will continue to increase because more of our schools are adding enough AP classes to get across that AP scholar threshold. We've got 3 schools that have the AP capstone diploma opportunity, which is AP Research, AP Seminar, and then scoring high enough on other AP courses to qualify. I think probably, Mr. Daniels, to go to your point, for a long time AP was sort of exclusionary. I know when I taught in Atlanta, I taught AP US History for 3 years. I taught AP English Literature here in Sumner County. The battle that we used to have was, it was considered to be something like, if you were going to be an English major or a history major or a math major or an engineer, then you took those courses. AP courses are geared to stand in for a freshman level college course. Now, generally, I would say most of our high school AP courses are taught more like a sophomore, junior level course. I mean, they get after it. I think I shared last month, you know, my daughter had outstanding success at the University of Alabama in calculus because of how, you know, her AP Calc class in high school. So I think, you know, where we have changed is trying to say, instead of limiting who can take AP classes, we want to encourage kids who want to take an AP class to have the opportunity to do so. So I think the fact that we have increased the number of students taking AP classes quite dramatically over the last few years, at the same time that our scores have risen, is a testimony to the work of our AP teachers, our AP students, and their families. Because I can tell you, it's it's a grind for our kids. And, I think you saw some of the pictures on social media. There's a kid at Hendersonville High School had 6 5s last year alone. That's pretty remarkable. Our AP students, our AP teachers really work hard. If you have the opportunity to go to Hendersonville High School, has an AP night where they showcase. A lot of schools are starting to do this, but they showcase their AP classes, and they've built a culture. Kids push each other and they encourage each other to take these classes. It's really exemplary. The other thing I think is we're hoping we can expand even more and try to identify kids younger who have the ability to take AP classes but currently aren't taking them. We want to really get all the kids that belong in an AP class there.
And I think that the point that I was trying to make and you're making is that it's not that we're lowering a bar to get more students into the classes. It's that we're challenging students to take more rigorous classes if they have that opportunity to improve opportunities for college credit or whatever that is, while also increasing the AP opportunities. We're also increasing CTE opportunities and certifications so that we can provide multiple pathways to students to be successful when they walk out the doors of our high school.
That's correct. Yes, sir. We want to expand opportunity while still holding high standards on scores.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Miss Sarah. Miss Andrews.
Again, I'm a middle kid. I'm used to it. Not a problem. Just touching base too on the reason on why this policy is on our agenda tonight is because of the state board changing our grading scale and now looking at this policy to then align with that grading scale is why this is on our agenda tonight. Is my understanding. And I also just want to say, when it comes to credit recovery, if there is a misconception that this is summer school, that this doesn't a lot of times happen in summer school. This is day to day. We have dedicated educators in our buildings that are identifying students and those opportunities. We have students that are coming from, as you mentioned, a multitude of backgrounds, whether it's where they haven't been in school for months upon months. They may have had some family situation that, a lot of us don't know what these kids are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And so maybe they just had a bad semester and they didn't do well on that course. Or, they are teenage kids. Maybe their girlfriend broke up with them, quite frankly, and they just didn't know how to handle it or whatever it might be. And so instead of having to wait all through the school year, especially since we're on block scheduling, these are things that they're making up within the school day. And I think that's important because no kid really wants to go to school during the summer unless there are fun offerings that we're giving, these kids are working, they have family commitments, they have vacations. So for them to be able to identify these, get these kids caught up, I know specifically looking at, our math that is foundational where we have to build on it year after year. If they miss a component of that, they cannot go and be successful on those next steps. So we've got to identify it early, allow them those opportunities so that they get back on track and then they do get to graduate and then go on after high school. But to just get back onto where we are with our agenda is that this policy was brought forward so that we can align with our grading scale. Do we know if there's any other additional policies that may be in there that we haven't thought of that we also may need to consider to align with the new grading scale?
I don't think so. I think this is the last one. I mean, we're waiting. Obviously, whenever the state board takes action on elementary and middle school, like we would prefer to not run 2 grading scales. We would prefer to be the same K-12 and go with the new one for high school. But unfortunately, we have to follow state board policy. And right now, the legislature the legislature passed a high school grading scale, and they referred to the state board to make a decision on elementary and middle school. So we're hopeful that in the next couple months that will happen. But yes, it aligns credit recovery with the overall new grading scale.
Thank you, Ms. Andrews. Mr. Gregory.
Thank you, Mr. Brewer. Mr. Langford, I think it would be interesting to know students who have been to Sumner County schools, K through 12, how many are in credit recovery. You would be very shocked that that number would go way down. I know of students who have enrolled this year in high schools in our county as juniors and have 6 credits. That's hard to make.
And I think there are some wonderful stories of kids that have found themselves in those situations, and they've been able to take advantage of the 8 blocks they can take during the year and pick up a couple extra through credit recovery, and graduate on time, which is a huge, it's a lot, takes a lot of work to do that. I would ask, as we do this tonight, if we could waive second reading. That would help us out, because we can go ahead and communicate this to our schools and
Y'all are
change
okay on
that.
the motion in a second? Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Gregory. Anybody else? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Using my new glasses, I skipped something, so I need to go back. Reports from the director. I think Mr. Langford wanted to speak in that area, and I said,
Yes,
I'm sorry.
I wanted to share with you on your desk tonight. There was last week. I wanted to have this in our data presentation, but it was still embargoed, so we couldn't talk about it. We will have. I did find out we will have information about reward schools next Tuesday, but that will be embargoed for 14 days as well. So, whatever 14 days is after next Tuesday, we'll be able to announce our reward schools. They did change, they changed the numbers for chronic absenteeism to capture some of the effects of, the craziness of COVID and pandemic. So we're expecting good news on the number of reward schools. But TVOS is a measure that measures where kids are expected to score if they have a normal year of instruction. If you hit that normal year of instruction, that's good. That means you're a 3. If you go above that, then you go to a 4 or a 5. If you go below that, you go to a 2 or a 1. So district-wide, we were straight 5s on composite literacy, literacy, and numeracy. And then we had 36 of our schools that were a 3, 4, or 5. And I just wanted to share those schools with you. So if you look at the 5s, and I think what's exciting is it represents the whole county. Bethpage Elementary, Burris, Gallatin High School, Gene Brown, Guild, H.B. Williams, Hendersonville High School, Howard, Jack Anderson, Lakeside Park, Merrillhide Magnet, Millersville, Portland West, Ellis, Station Camp Elementary, Station Camp High School, Station Camp Middle School, T.W. Hunter Middle School, Venus Stewart, Walton Ferry, Westmoreland Elementary, Westmoreland High School. With 4s, we had Beach Elementary, White Hardison, White House Middle. And with 3s, we had Clyde Riggs, George Whitten, Wiseman, Schaefer, Nannyberry, Oakmont, Portland East, Portland Gateview, Hawkins, Westmoreland Middle, and White House High School. So really remarkable work in terms of our student growth over the course of last year, which again is a huge testimony to our students, our teachers, and our principals.
Thank you, Ms. Langford. Any comment on that? All right. Thank you very much. That's a great report. Next item on the agenda, I'm going to put my glasses on so I don't forget anything. Discussion and or action regarding amendments to the general purpose budget. Is there a motion to approve by Mr. Duncan? Second by Mr. Wise. Any discussion? Mr. Daniels.
Yeah, I've just got a couple questions for Ms. Amanda. In regards to the budget and the amendments that we have here, can you explain why we have these amendments? Because every month we have amendments to our budget. Can you just kind of explain a little bit background for why we have these and what other actually means?
So the State Comptroller Office has a standardized chart of accounts for the whole entire state. And so we're required to account for our funds, our actuals, our budget based on those chart of accounts. And so that's an accounting term. I'm not, I don't know everybody's accounting lingo. I'm kind of a nerd. So we have certain object codes that we have to classify. So other being one of them, 189. And the state chart of accounts says that's a code we have to use. And on top of that, they also come back and say certain things have to be coded in certain areas. We're audited every year by the state comptroller's office. We've had clean audits for at least the last 10 years that I've been here. We're audited by the federal government. We're audited by a state Department of Education and multiple other agencies, and never have any issues with our audits. And so multiple reasons. Every month we have different budget amendments, and it can range from a wide variety of things. Currently this month, a lot of our amendments are where we have ongoing projects, and so as those ongoing projects carry over from one year to the other, we have to reserve that amount by either statute, by choice by the board, or by law. There's 100 different reasons why we do, but we have to reserve certain balances and carry that balance forward to be budgeted. And so that's that restricted reserve balance. We have to restrict that balance, and then we have to bring that forward and budget that again so it can be spent in the next year, or it wouldn't be spendable. We also have amendments where we may have a new grant that we've received funding, and to be able to spend that money, we have to budget that, and we have to budget that revenue and that expenditure. We have multiple federal grants, we have multiple state grants. We have currently on the agenda several federal grants tonight that every year, same thing, we get an allocation, we spend our federal funds, and any remaining funding, we can carry that over to the next year to continue those programs. So several of ours are additional carryover funds this month. And so occasionally we may just have something small like we need a computer broke. It was unexpected, and so we're taking a little money out of one account, maybe supplies, and we're moving that in to pay for a computer. That's an example. And so there's hundreds of different examples. Every month, you're correct, we have multiple budget amendments, and so those are required to be approved by the board, and then certain ones are also required to be approved by the county commission. So is that helpful?
Yeah, but one of the things you mentioned, I think it's really important. We're audited every year.
Oh, yes, sir.
In fact, we have by multiple organizations.
Yes, sir.
And we have
and external, and we also our student activity funds are also, I didn't mention that, are also audited by a private CPA firm.
And those CPA firms come and present to the board their findings every year.
Yes, sir.
And as you said, they're going line item by line item to make sure that the items being expensed are in line with the budget and in line with approved accounting guidelines.
Yes, sir.
As you said, the results of that audit is we've had a clean audit every year for at least the last 10 years.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And in addition to that, the state also, like for a federal grant, for example, will put together of pages upon pages upon pages of work to tell them how we want to spend that money, and they'll sometimes say this has to be accounted for in this line, and so we present that to the state, and they tell us what we can and cannot budget in certain lines. So that's not like I've just chosen to classify something a certain way. It's required, and there's the state chart of accounts lines out what can and can't be charged to certain things. So it's not just my discretion or our discretion.
And if someone has a question about a specific line item, have you ever refused to answer about what that line item is?
No, sir. Of course not.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. James. Anybody else? Seeing none? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Wilkerson.
So just to be clear, the state says these items go under this account called other. And when they come into audit, they look at each one of those lines to make sure that that's included in that account.
Well, they audit our books in a whole, and they definitely would look at, they specifically a lot of times will pull other, because that that is something that, like, what is that? And so they specifically look at those, but they look at all of our accounts and make sure that we're accounting for those appropriately, for sure.
Just love it when people do their homework.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkerson. Any further discussion? Mr. Gregory.
Question. Question. How many people do they send when they do the audit?
So, you know, at any given point, it depends on the type of audit that's going on. So in our general purpose audit, they send sometimes 2 to 3 people different times. I'll have different people working here looking at different factors, and then there's obviously the senior accountant, and they go above that, they review, and then when we have the auditors from our CPA firm that do our student activity funds, sometimes there's a whole swarm of people here looking at that and going out into our school buildings asking questions, also questioning staff. And then with our federal audit, typically those are different type of audits. It depends on the type of audit, but we could have a couple of people here. It may be one, it may be a desktop audit where we're sending stuff in and answering questions by Zoom or by remote. So it's kind of different. We also have an IT auditor that comes in and looks at our systems and our permissions and controls and addresses any concerns or ask any questions about that. And so that's even a separate audit from the other ones, the financial audit. And Chris Brown and I work on that together and answer a lot of procedures and policies around our internal controls.
And they're here for what, 2 or 3 or 4 weeks?
Our auditors are here. They're typically here for about a month and a half off and on in certain times. And then the federal auditors are here various times throughout the year, and the state auditors are also in and out just different times. They actually usually do some pre-audit work at certain times of year, and then they come back and they finalize everything. So honestly, they're kind of here almost full time. So I have an auditor here almost all the time. So, which is great. You know, I actually, people laugh, but I say I enjoy a good audit because it holds you accountable, and it makes you better. So.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is discussion and interaction regarding amendments to the federal budget. Motion approved by Mr. Wise, second by Mr. Duncan. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item is discussion of the study session item. Mr.
Just want to remind everybody, our next study session is September 6th. We'll be swearing in our new board members then, and it sounds like we'll probably have a presentation on our reward schools.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is not on the agenda, so I'm going to take a little bit of chairman liberty here, and I'm going to ask Alice Bachman and Mr. Duncan and Mr. Wilkerson to meet me down front out here. Since you're standing in the middle and looking so pretty, I want to say that on behalf, and I haven't talked to the other board members, is it okay if I say what I'm going to say? Okay. On behalf of Dr. Phillips, who of course couldn't be here, and the rest of your board members here, we want to thank you for your service. You've been excellent board members. There have been things that have been done through your votes, through your comments, through what you've done in the schools that has made Sumner County the great county that it is. And we appreciate your service. And we've got a little token of our appreciation to you. Ms. Bachman, since you're the prettiest. And your name starts with a B. Thank you. Mr. Duncan? Yes, sir. And Mr. Wilson. Thank you. Thank you all very much for your service. God bless you. I know that the great things coming for you. You've been great leaders. So thanks very much. So move on some papers.
Everybody. Take a step over one, see Mr. Greg. Go one way or the other, go this way. That perfect. All right, everybody smile. Everybody smile. Down, we're good. Thank you. Thank y'all.
All right, next item on the agenda is comments from board members. And I think I'm going to start with the ones that are leaving us. Ms. Bachman. She's fussing at me for doing this.
Yeah, I am. Thank you, Chairman Brewer. You'd think after being an Army wife for 30 years that this would be easy for me, but it's not. It's always difficult to say your farewells. But I don't know if you all remember Frank Gifford on Monday Night Football. He always sang, "Turn out the lights." Well, that's that time for me. But before I do that, I want to say how much I've loved and appreciated being on this board for 8 years. I don't know where the time has gone, but we have done some amazing things. Just think back where we were 8 years ago and where we are today. My mama always told me to leave something better than what you found it. And I hope that we have done that. You all are dear to me. I love all of you. There are so many things I wanted to say, but they've kind of escaped my mind right now. But I will still be involved with the schools. You know my love for my grandchildren. I'm their mama too. My son's a single parent, so you will see me around the schools. I will go back to being my community volunteer. I will help with the Family Resource Center, and I just had another opportunity to do the poverty simulation, and I will continue to do that. So I'm always here for you. Just give me a yell. I love you. God bless.
Thank you, Ms. Bachman. Ms. Wilkerson, let's go with you.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to say what a pleasure it's been. My life is much richer because of everyone on this board accepted me when I first came in, and we've made a lot of great changes. I appreciate each one of you, and if you ever need me, please call me. I'm still going to be around, and keep up the great work.
Thank you, Ms. Wilkerson. Mr. Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Alice, thank you for being the emotional one, because it's usually me.
I tried not to be.
So I appreciate you taking that off of my heart. I always like to be involved. I like to think of myself as a catalyst. I don't have to do it all, but I have to push at the right place to make things happen. So, just like I left the city of Gouldsville in better shape than I found it, I think I'm leaving this board in that same situation. So, now comes the hard part. I'd like to personally thank everyone who made Liberty Creek actually happen this year. That's great. It's amazing what was accomplished. It was amazing how those administrators and teachers pulled together. And you may not understand what they were able to do. We are still in massive, we're having massive problems getting supplies. We can't get pipe. We can't get a certain building product. This school district worked with the contractors to make that school happen. The administrators and teachers worked together to make what was not possible. They were able to hire the staff to pull that community that was torn apart. I've been in the middle of that. I've been hearing it. They were able to bring that community together and make them a family now. For the ones that went to Liberty Creek that didn't want to go to Liberty Creek, you go talk to them today, they're part of the pack. They're part of the pack. And with Liberty Creek, I get all the complaints. I'm starting to sound like a Southern preacher. With Liberty Creek, I've got a ton of complaints about they got this and they got that and they got this. That cluster was built properly. It had everything they needed from day one. From uniforms to textbooks to classrooms. It wasn't an afterthought like we've done in other clusters throughout our district. Beach is one of them. Fort Beach, I've heard it the worst because they've piecemealed everything there, and they've added on, and Liberty Creek was done the right way. Go find the people that were naysayers and ask them now when they're going to what they think about it. Now I know you can't make everybody happy, and I'm asking too much, but that was a success, and I'm proud of it. I can't leave without saying thank you to all the administrators and staff here at the central office. They've been wonderful to work with. Whenever I had a question, I could reach out to them and I could get the answer. It's been wonderful working with you. So keep doing what you do. You've made it successful. The reason that this school district is able to do what it does, let's talk about the school district. It's the largest employer in the county. It's the largest food service company in the county. It's the largest public transportation system in the county. It's the best managed company in the county. It's the largest economic engine in Middle Tennessee. I get passionate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Ms. Hayes? Okay.
Thank you, Chairman Brewer. It has been a privilege and it has been a joy to serve with Alice Bachman, Jeff Duncan, and David Wilkerson. You will be missed. I appreciate what you brought to the board with your individual gifts and abilities, the points you would bring up in the discussions that we would have. That's not by happenstance. God appointed you for a season and a time, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for your friendship, which will always be. The beginning of school, another year. Here we go. All in all, it has started smoothly. There was an exhaust fire at Howard Elementary. The first week of school, or into the second week of school. But I tell you, Andy Brown and his team, spot on, got it done. Kids were out of school one day, and they were back on Tuesday. Amazing. A lot of work goes into the beginning of a new school year. So our department directors, phenomenal work. The groundwork was laid. We did everything we needed to do. Chris, Andy, Andrew, Scott, Amanda, Norma, Katie. We did what we needed to do. And it has definitely run smoothly. All said and done. We'll be glad when Dr. Phillips is back. We miss him. Praying as he continues to recover, and praying for Amy most of all, as she is trying to hold the bear down so he can recover well. But I appreciate you all of you. And here's to a great year.
Thank you, Ms. Hayes. Ms. Andrews?
Thank you, Chairman. Just want to say thank you to Alice and to Jeff and to David just for your service. You know, it's interesting as I look around at some different boards and different things and so forth, and you know, I feel like we have something unique here. You know, there's lots of bickering and infighting and whatnot, and while we don't always up here agree or see eye to eye, or you know, maybe, you know, push a little more for our district, go Bucks, than others, we legitimately like each other. And, you know, I feel like we're family. And so for y'all not to be here at our next meeting hurts my heart. Because you're family. And you'll always be family. We've been through a lot. We've had to make some tough decisions. We've been through rezonings. I thought the rezoning was going to be the hardest thing I'd ever done. I think I would do a rezoning again if I never had to see COVID ever again. There's going to be hard choices still ahead for many of us. And I just hope that as we move forward, that we'll remember how we conducted ourselves on this board and how we worked together, how we were civil, how we disagreed civilly, and at the end of the day, every decision we made was because we thought about what was in the best interest of students. You three will be missed desperately. I hope you're not strangers. You've got my number. Everyone but Jeff can call me. Just kidding. I'll talk to Jennifer.
I'll get you seats at the ball games.
Okay. But thank you for your service. Love you dearly.
Thank you, Ms. Andrews. Ms. Hawkins?
So much of what I wanted to say has already been said. I think the part about feeling like family, because we've had a common goal, a common mission, and we have worked as a team. And as the newest member of this board, you all were so much a part of making me feel welcome and helping me, especially since I was appointed last term, the last year of the last term, 1 month before COVID hit. And so I got thrown in the deep water real fast, but you all helped me, and I'm thankful for that. I've never been good with change. I don't want to say goodbye, but I do want to say thank you for, I will say this, the emotion you show tonight in saying goodbye is evidences that your passion for the mission, and I think that speaks volumes. And I'm going to miss you all, and I thank you again for your service to the children and the staff and the teachers, everyone in the Sumner County school system. Job well done.
Thank you, Ms. Hawkins. Mr. Daniels?
Yes, Ms. Bachman, Mr. Duncan, Mr. Wilkerson, thank you for your service. I will miss your energy. I will miss your passion. What I appreciate most from all three of you is that you honestly serve not for the betterment of yourself, but for the students of this county. And there's no higher standard than that. Ms. Bachman made the comment that, her mom always said to leave things better than where you found them. When we look back over the last 4 to 8 years, we have better facilities. We have better pay for our staff. We have more opportunities for our students. And every measure we use to measure the success of our students in this county continues to improve. And you all have had a vital role in making that happen. And your wisdom and your thoughts will be missed. I'm sure you won't hesitate to share those. But I look forward to continuing to see you out in our community, because I know not being on this board doesn't mean it's the end of your service. It's just another step in the process for you. So thank you for all that you've done, and thank you for all that you will continue to do. I also just want to say thank you, Mr. Andy Brown over there, for some of the help that you've given over at our football stadium, trying to get some things finished up before we opened up our season over there. Thank you to staff for helping us start the school year off right. It's been a great start to the school year. From a brand new campus opening up to all the other schools, there's been little things here and there, but you've all done great. So thank you for that continued hard work, and to our teachers who've put in the hours getting ready and are just now starting to see the results from that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Mr. Wise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Wilkerson, the people in the 11th district do not realize how fortunate they've been for the last 4 years that you've represented them concerning our school system. And I thank you for your service. I thank you for the compassion with which you serve. You know, as I think about you, and I've thought about these three that are leaving us the last several days, I've never seen David Wilkerson turn a shade of red in his face, because I've never seen him appear to be upset. Always level-headed. He may do that at home, I don't know, but you got to do it somewhere. But always level-headed, always thinking before he speaks, and just has had a calming effect, and I appreciate that in you. Thank you for what you've done. Mr. Duncan, you have brought to this board, in my opinion, a concentration on technical. You amaze me in your ability, and I guess an engineer got to be technical, but you brought that. You've also brought a passion for our school system, and for the most important part of our school system, and that's our children. District 5 does not realize how fortunate they've been to have you represent them on this board. Thank you. Alice Bachman, you know my wife's name, and we didn't know each other 8 years ago. You know my children's names, and you know my grandchildren's names. When I think about Miss Bachman, and this may sound a little bit unusual, and it is, I think what she has brought to this board is sweetness. I don't believe I've ever met, and if I want my wife to know I said this, I'll tell her myself, but I don't believe I've ever met a sweeter person. I don't believe we had that element until you came aboard. I thank you for that. And it proves that an elected official can also be a human being. Thank you. Your district has been extremely fortunate to have you serve them the last 8 years. To all three of you, thank you for your service. Don't be strangers. To those who replace you, I would like to see this board this board and this school system continue with the unity that we have had, and that's what I will fight hard to have continued. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wise. Ms. Brown?
I cannot imagine at this point. I've just had a shot, so I can't speak. But I appreciate all of you. You've been, especially Alice, telling me when we had a board meeting. I don't know how we'll make it. I have to get somebody else. But I just really feel like we've been so fortunate. And I hope you will come back. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Mr. Gregory?
Thank you, but excuse me, I got allergies too. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I echo, without re-saying everything that has been said. We are losing 3 outstanding school board members. I was sitting here thinking, we all have our favorite teams, and they're different. But we all have the same favorite county. That's the main thing. Mr. Wise made a statement. Occasionally he makes a good statement. 4 or 5 years ago. And it was, we have 2 eyes, and each one of us keeps one eye on our district, without a doubt, and the other eye on the county. And obviously, I'm very supportive of Portland. I'm supposed to be. But I want to thank all of you who have also supported Portland. And I hope I have supported the entire county. All of you will be missed. And I appreciate all the good things that's been said, because we have made amazing progress. I know we sat here through study sessions, asked questions, but then for 2 weeks, we're calling, not each other, I don't think no, you know, that's against the law. But we talked to staff members. Occasionally, I'm sure I have visited here, and I'm sure all of you have. Not often, to discuss ever what needs to be discussed. I think this page right here is very informative. How many schools was it, Mitchell? 36 out of 49, correct?
Yes, sir.
We have what, 7 schools, 8 schools in Portland? All of them are on there except one. Obviously, I'm proud of that. And now, end my comments with this. There is a teacher shortage. And I keep hearing in the state of Tennessee, I don't know about other states. And I'm hearing that the enrollment has gone up quite a bit. Is that correct? It has? I don't know how much. What would you guess our enrollment in Sumner County? 31,000?
I'll have to hold that, Mr. Gregory, until we got a final count tomorrow, and Dr. Phillips likes to communicate that to y'all, so I'm gonna defer to him.
Somewhere between 30 and 31,000 probably students. And I know I don't know what you've gotten all the teachers, all the positions filled or not. I don't know. Close? Okay. I know in some of our neighboring counties, every night on the 10 o'clock news, they're talking about a teacher shortage. And it really, that concerns me. It really does. And it's not a lot we can do to make people get into teacher education. But we know, and I see it almost daily, of some school in Sumner County where great teachers are making better students become much better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory. I'm reminded tonight of what a pastor said not long ago. He walked up to the pulpit and he said, I don't have a lot of notes today, so I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. And so that's kind of how I feel tonight. I want to thank Mr. Wilkerson, Mr. Duncan, and Ms. Bachman for being the great board members that you have been. We really appreciate your service. I sit in this chair as well, so I know that the research that goes behind the things that people don't see us doing, the studying, the getting the questions asked. I've heard board member after board member say, well, I got an email from this person, I didn't know the answer, so I went to whoever on the staff to get the answer and did the research and got that answer back to them. I heard board members talk about taking phone calls and people yelling at them and all that. And wait a minute, let me see if I can help you on that. I guess I say that to say this, that just because you threw your hat in the ring, I threw mine in the ring and almost 14 years ago, was it, Ted? Just to try to make a difference, just to try to do something better. I am a human being. These people on the board are human beings. Our staff are human beings. They get up every day and they go to work to try to do the job just like everybody else does. The difference being, more especially in an election season, and I think back to when I was first elected, there was 3, I think, on the ballot. I won out of the 3. And there was a little mudslinging, you know, but not a lot. The second one, a little bit more mudslinging, but not near what it is today. And what I see, the sad part that I see of election season is the lies, the absolute blatant lies that people go out and get elected on. Now, I want to back up just a little bit and say we welcome that. I'm not talking about our 3 new board members because I welcome you here. I'm glad you're here. I've gone through, in 14 years, I've gone through several changes, and we've always worked it out, and everything's going to be fine. But I've had things come to me that I just can't believe was even said. So, and a lot of times it comes to you in just an innocent question. What you think is an innocent question was a meaning behind it, that you're doing something wrong, that you're bad, you've done something bad. If I've done something wrong, if I've done something bad, and my favorite too is, you know, meeting behind closed doors and making deals behind closed doors. Padding my pockets. If you have proof of that, I welcome you to call Ray Whitley and go up there and tell him about it. And I will meet you in court. But that's no way to run a campaign. And I'm not talking about our board members. You know, we welcome you here. But some of the, I won't name the elected officials that have done that, but some of them knocked on doors that didn't know who they were knocking on doors to. And that's where some of this has come from. I want to welcome Mr. Lancaster, Mr. Lacey. Mr. King's not here tonight. I want to welcome them to the board because, again, we're going to miss our friends, but we're going to make friends with you. And we're looking forward to working with you. But what I would like for everyone to understand is when you sit in these seats up here, you're going to be a human. You're just a human being. You're just trying to do a job that you got out and threw your hat in the ring and trying to change things, and people are going to throw darts at you. And people are going to say things about you that's absolutely not true. People are going to talk about you that's never met you, that's never called you on the phone and said, you know, never had. So just expect that, because it's just the world in which we live in now. I hate that it's that way, but it is. But that being said, I thank you for your service. Y'all done a fantastic job. I think this board has done a fantastic job. I think the school system's doing a fantastic job. Is there room for improvement? Heck yeah, it sure is. Let's keep going. Let's keep the ship going and be that number one. I remember about 10 years ago, we were doing our 5-year plan, and we put in our 5-year plan. We wanted to be the number one school district in the state. Let's be the number one school district in the nation. What's wrong with that? I don't see any reason why we can't do that, why we can't accomplish that. We can still keep the ship going in the right direction, and that's what I would like to see. So we'll miss you guys. Again, don't be strangers. Come around and be a part of it, because you've done a great job. To our new board members, look forward to working with you next week or next month. We'll be looking forward to getting you initiated and getting your opinions going and getting your ideas going, and look forward to making friends with you and being brothers and sisters. We can do that. Ms. Bachman, I want to yield a little bit of time to you because you said you forgot something. Did you forget something that you'd like to say?
There was a lot I forgot to say. We have been such an amazing board. We have worked together so hard, but I also want to recognize the board members that were here prior when I first came that helped us get where we are today. Those are Beth Cox, Jeff Cordell, our buddy, Nancy Glover, our dear Jim Hawkins, and our sweet, unpredictable David Brown. I was hoping he might be here tonight. Our school system has made some wonderful progress through the board. We have worked well together, Dr. Phillips and the staff. Every member that is employed by the Sumner County School System played a part in this. It takes everybody to do this, and then we had a great relationship with our commission. And so we're thankful for all of that. Thankful for all that we have done here. Together we've made some wonderful progress, and I hope that it continues. So I can always talk more, but I'm going to stop now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bachman. Well, I'm going to stop too. I've already got myself in more trouble than I meant to get into. There again, I didn't have a script, so I just spoke from the heart. So thank you all very much. Have a good week, and we are adjourned.